And welcome to Citizen Report. I'm Jonathan Shannon. Thank you for joining me tonight. As always, this newscast is real, in-depth American. Thank you so much for joining me. Decided to do another live show today. I was kind of thinking I might do it, and here I am, obviously doing it because there's some new developments I wanted to bring to your attention. I wanted to provide basically an addendum to my broadcast last night because, like I said, there's some new information. This is going to be a pretty short broadcast. I'm not going to go like for an hour or anything like that. This is just going to be a few moments, really. I'm telling you, folks, I don't know what happened, but the strike, like when we crossed over into the start of this week, it just like everything went boom, just crazy land. And we have obviously the Colonial pipeline. Let me just briefly recap that if you don't know what's going on still. My understanding is that the gas shortages are not affecting the entire Southeast United States, just basically the states that the pipeline is traveling through. I know there's offshoots that the pipeline also operates. I believe Tennessee, the primary pipeline doesn't even pass through the state, and yet Tennessee's being affected. I've heard reports that there's gas running out there in places. But basically, they claim there's been a cyber attack with regards to the pipeline, resulting where they basically had to shut it down. Up to you to decide if you believe that or not, but apparently that will be coming back online pretty soon. Don't know exactly when. What I've heard is by the end of the week. So, anyways, just wanted to briefly recap that. Now, today, we've got a new development. I saw this come across my feed. This is from 4029 News. And I'm telling you, folks, there's no coincidence to this. I'm telling you, they are trying to start something here. They're trying to disrupt this economy. 4029 News. I-40 span over Mississippi River shut down after crack found. I think they didn't say shut down. They just said shut after crack found. Anyways, I think that's a typo. So now we have we have a gas pipeline disrupted. Now we have a very critical infrastructure, part of the interstate infrastructure shut down. For those who don't know what I-40, how crucial I-40 is, I used to live in Arkansas, and in Arkansas, to get there on the interstate, you had one of two options. And I'm talking about in the Memphis area. Yes, you can go up US 412 up to Dyersburg and then across the southeast portion of Missouri into northeast Arkansas. And we did go that way on occasion. But speaking of the interstate system itself, there's only one of two options in that area. You've got Interstate 40 and you've got Interstate 55. To get to Interstate 55, you have to take a short detour like this, basically. So Interstate 40 is shut down. I'm going to pull up a news article from a local TV station out there. This is Fox 13 Memphis. One second here. This is what it reads. This is dated 12:43 p.m. Central Daylight Time, so that's only a couple hours ago. Tennessee Department of Transportation officials gave an update Wednesday morning on the indefinite closure of the bridge. There is no timeline on when the I-40 bridge could reopen to traffic, officials say. A TDOT official released images of the crack via Twitter, saying that it could take a couple of weeks to complete the inspection into the crack. Officials said they noticed rust in the crack of the steel and believe the crack has been there at least a week. And it includes a tweet from Nicole Lawrence at Nick Lawrence TDOT. So I'm guessing a TDOT or Tennessee Department of Transportation official. It says, quote, "Today, TDOT officials held a press event to talk about the I-40 Hernando de Soto bridge closure. The inspection is still underway and could take a couple of weeks to complete. A timeline will be shared as soon as we have one. Continue to use alternative routes." The U.S. DOT, or Department of Transportation, has given emergency management authority for an emergency contract to get the bridge repaired as soon as possible, according to TDOT Commissioner Clay Bright. The I-55 bridge will be monitored 24 hours The I-55 bridge will be monitored 24 hours a day to clear any traffic incidents. Officials are monitoring the capacity of the I-40 bridge to hold its own weight as well as that of traffic, TDOT Chief Engineer Paul Degiz, said. Approximately 50,000 vehicles travel over the bridge each day. 25% are trucks. Officials are looking into whether the bridge is safe for inspections and even safe for repairs. Okay, now we have another update. This is from Decari Turner, I think is his name. This is what it reads. This is a tweet on Twitter. This morning, we are live at the Hernando de Soto Bridge, which remains closed to some 41,000 daily travelers after workers at my ARDOT, that's Arkansas Department of Transportation, discovered a crack. Engineers are studying drone footage to determine the extent of the damage. And in another tweet, he says, an update. And he puts in quotations, possible. The bridge could be closed months, not weeks, says at my TDOT, that's Tennessee Department of Transportation, Chief Engineer Paul Degiz, joined by Commissioner Clay Bright. Initial assessment of the fracture, which is less than 1/4 of an inch, will take 2 to 3 weeks, he said. So that's very interesting. Let me make sure there's nothing else, and then I'll give my initial thoughts on that. Okay, there is a little more to this. I'll just go ahead and read this too, if you don't mind. Degas said the bridge closure could go on for weeks or months, but he could not speculate on a timeline. TDOT officials are hopeful that barge traffic along the Mississippi River can resume in a few days. Let me clarify that. That's referring to the traffic on the actual river, where they have cargo and things of that nature. I'm guessing that that's been disrupted too. TDOT is responsible for repairs and maintenance of the bridge. ARDOT, that's Arkansas Department of Transportation, is responsible for inspections, which happen every 2 years. So that's a little bit of a loaded statement. Let me clarify what that means. So Tennessee, because keep in mind, this is a state line here. There's a state line down the river. Tennessee is responsible for the repairs and maintenance of the bridge itself. Arkansas, on the other hand, is responsible for the inspection. So it's kind of interesting. They've kind of got this joint agreement going on here with this bridge. An ARDOT inspector noticed a crack on the inspection on the first day of inspection, then called 911. Degas said he could not speculate on when the crack happened. So, what do I think about this? Well, I think, and I'm not saying I know this for sure, obviously. I'm just speculating here. I think the timing is very suspect because, keep in mind, the Colonial pipeline has been disrupted. We have several states, ironically enough, that largely are Trump-favored states, Republican states. And they are disrupted right now. The gas is hit or miss. You really have to plan it out now if you can even get gas anywhere. And I've seen personally lines on the side of a road just for people to wait to buy gas. I had to wait in line myself back on Monday night. And I could only buy the top tier gas. So we have all that shenanigans going on. We know that the pipeline is supposed to restart pretty soon. Now we have a critical, and keep in mind, folks, and I said this, I was trying to say this as best as I could earlier, but you have to understand, this is not a random bridge. We're talking about a critical part of the road infrastructure in this country. That interstate goes from California to Wilmington, North Carolina. This is a very critical interstate, Interstate 40, I mean. Yes, right now they seem to be able to detour onto Interstate 55, which is only, a short distance south where they cross. But you have to remember, this is a very critical interstate. So when this shuts down, that is disrupting commerce. That's disrupting trucks' ability to get through. I mean, I'm telling you, folks, maybe more information will be coming forth in due course. But I'm telling you, folks, this is extremely suspect, the timing of this. Any other time this could have happened, but it happened the same week. Same week. So I I don't really know what to tell you of how to respond to this. I just say, keep your head on a swivel. Don't let the mainstream media manipulate your thinking. Think for yourself. And I'll try to update you when I get more information. And by the way, I'll go on to my next thing here in a second, but let me just say I will be doing another episode of the Citizen Report, probably pre-taped this next time. You'll probably see that tomorrow. We'll see. I'm not entirely sure about that just yet, but it will be later this week, tomorrow at the earliest, on Thursday at the earliest. So I am now going to update you on some new things from Israel. This is as of 12 hours ago. The count is now 1,050 rockets in a 40-hour period. I'm sure that number may well change. I don't know. That's as of 12 hours ago. And I'm citing Israel Defense Forces on that. And what is sickening about this, I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to try to do my best to show this to you. And this just shows you the spirit of the Antichrist is rising. And why do I say that in the context of this? So this is the post from Israel Defense Forces. This is why we need to defend ourselves. And it includes a video of rockets coming in. Let me just play that for you real quick if I can. Let me turn it up. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And for that, you have 90,000 reactions. Look at the predominant one. Laughs. Laughs. People are laughing at that. I better be careful what I say, but I'm just going to say this. It seems like that there's a lot of people that would gladly take the mark of the beast whenever that starts. It's just nuts. It's absolutely sickening that you've got people literally laughing at the notion of there being rockets. I don't care what people think about what. There are innocent lives at stake. Israel came under attack. We now know that. I mean, that is absolutely a fact. Israel was attacked. As a sovereign country, they defend themselves, and for that, they're being attacked. The mainstream media is trying to make it out to be that they're somehow at fault for reacting. It's kind of like, I mean, to use an analogy, it'd be like, it's like if a student in K-12 school got punched in the face by a school bully, and instead of just taking it, he punched back, of equal force. Well, it would be like saying that the student who was bullied and reacted, he was the only one that got punished, not the actual bully. So this is the kind of mentality that the mainstream media is deploying here. And unfortunately, many people are just absolutely, they're just going along with it. It's just really unfortunate. But I will, let me tell you also of this. This is what really provoked me last night and I decided at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to definitely share this on the Citizen Report. This is from a person on Facebook by the name of Michael Friend, maybe Freund. I shared it to my Facebook. It says, the caption reads, well, let me first read to you what's on the picture here. Dear Joe, meaning Joe Biden, that money you sent to Gaza has just landed in Israel. You're not feeding families, you're funding terror. This is absolutely sickening. Just listen to this. Palestinian terrorists in Gaza have fired hundreds of rockets at Israel in the past 24 hours. Just 1 month ago, U.S. President Joe Biden announced that he would resume aid to the Palestinians in Gaza and send them a whopping, get this, $235 million, $235 million of U.S. taxpayer money. It's time to raise our voices and demand no U.S. aid to the Palestinians. If this doesn't tell you that Joe Biden is 100% complicit in this, I don't know what does. Let me say that one more time. Make sure you got that. $235 million of our taxpayer money went to fund Gaza, went to fund the Palestinians, I should say. $235 million went to fund the Palestinians. It's my editorial policy, by the way, to not refer to him as president, and I'm not going to say why. You know why. But that is sickening. That we have our own money going over there to the Palestinians. And I just heard on a TV program not that long ago, in the last maybe hour or so, or about an hour ago, give or take, that the Palestinians, yes, just like everybody, and I'm paraphrasing this, and I'm just the essence of it. I'm repeating, not necessarily word for word, but everybody deserves peace. Palestinians deserve peace, but they've elected terrorists, Hamas. So if this, I'm telling you, if this doesn't tell you something, I don't know what does. And yet there are going to still be people that say that that somehow Israel's at fault, or somehow Joe Biden is not doing anything wrong. It's like, look at their actions. Look at their actions. And this is what I said last night. This is all right now an attempt to wake people up. I'm telling you, folks, there's some things being allowed to play out because people have to wake up. They have to get a rude awakening, and we're getting a good dose of it right now. With the gas pipeline, the destabilization in the Middle East, and I'm not saying the Middle East was peaceful under Trump, but I'm saying it wasn't like this. The deep state right now, they're trying to push war, because I said this yesterday, and forgive me if I'm wrong to repeat this, but I feel like it's important for me to say for context that there was a 16-year plan to destroy America. The first 8 years under Obama was to get things started, to weaken the country, to kind of depress our rights, deplete our rights, all of that stuff. Just generally weaken us, weaken the military, all of that. The last 8 years, Hillary was supposed to come in and basically finish us off. We were supposed, because they know the central bank, the fiat money system, can only last a certain period of time. And what basically is going on is the central bank, they need an event to cover things up. So what did they do? They were going to use Hillary Clinton being in office. They were going to use a war or some type of situation in the midst of all that. The whole thing would collapse, and they could explain it away, because when you have many people killed, they're not going to worry about who's at fault or who's the true enemy. They're just, they're going to go along with whatever at that point. And that's what you're seeing here. They're having to catch things up. They're trying to start things. Is it going to work, though? Is it going to work? I don't think so, because if you look at how people are awake, there's so many more people awake right now. It's insane. In a good way. People are waking up to what the deep state is trying to do. Iran is a deep state surrogate. And I could go back to when this whole thing started in the late 70s and stuff. It's got the deep state written all over. The whole thing with Iran is a complete deep state installation. I'm just going to put it out there right now. But you just have to remember that things are being allowed to play out right now. And now we see, coming back stateside, we have the gas pipeline that's disrupted. We have a critical, and again, not just a minor level critical. We're talking about one of the main roads that crosses the Mississippi River. One of the most major roads that crosses the Mississippi River. Countless trucks that are transporting all sorts of things. They can't cross it right now. They have to go down to Interstate 55, and we just better hope that nothing goes wrong with that one, because at that point, it's going to get really hairy. I am not concluding in any way that was a setup, that somebody, did something to the bridge, but what I am saying is that the timing is extremely suspect. Now, before I wrap up, let me just go back to the thing about about I should say Amanda Grace last night. I played that video where she talked about the Medina Spirit, about the horse that won the Kentucky Derby, but pending an investigation, it appears that they gave him drugs that gave him an unfair advantage. And there's parallels with what's going on, shall we say, in Arizona, other states. So, and as Amanda Grace talked about, when a principality is seeking to take over, they seep into everything. And I'm not sure if I'm quoting that exactly right, but I think that that's what we're seeing right now is we're seeing a manifestation of that. And you have to understand, and for those that aren't a Christian, I'm sorry, but I have to tell you, you don't see the full picture unless you're seeing it through the lens of a Christian worldview, because Biden is just a puppet. His handlers control him, but ultimately it is a principality. It is a dark principality that has seized control of this country right now. And I think people are waking up to that. I want people to understand that is the ultimate component to all this. Yes, we can talk about all these different things. Let me pull up something for you. I want to read this to you. I'll wrap up in the next probably 5 minutes or so. I want to go to Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. I'm going to actually read the verse this time. It says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." So that is the essence of what we're talking about here. Biden, again, is just a puppet. His handlers are above him, but ultimately it goes back to the spiritual realm. They are trying to bring in, because they know America is, it's like the last hope of this world in terms of in the political realm. If this country goes, the whole world goes. And they have to destroy this country. They have to bring it down. That's why I consider the timing of this I-40 situation, and it may very well be a minor fix. Hopefully it is. Let's hope that it is. But what if it's not? And I'm not trying to fearmonger, but I'm just giving it to you straight. They're trying to cripple us, folks. Whether or not that's intentional, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. I don't have enough information to say. And I'm not going to give false speculation. I'm just giving my opinion, what my gut instinct, what my gut feeling is, but I can't say. Hopefully it is just an accident. Hopefully it's just, what nature caused to happen with it rusting, the metal rusting and things like that. I just don't know. But they're trying to destroy this country. And there are still people that don't get that. There are still people that literally will believe everything and only everything the mainstream media tells them to do. Nothing that independent people will. They don't believe anything the independent people say. I mean, they'll believe. Everything the mainstream media tells them, but everything that independent people say, they don't, and it's a shame. They don't think for themselves. They don't think critically, and that's their choice ultimately. And until people realize what's really going on here, as for them personally, there's not much I can do to help them. God's going to have to bring it to, going to have to wake them up. So anyways, I think that's about all I have right now, but I'll just tell you that I will be pre-taping a show maybe for release tomorrow. I'll probably work on it tonight and release it sometime tomorrow. I'm going to go back to that Amanda Grace video. I want to play a larger excerpt of that, and I'm going to use Zoom this time so you can actually see her talking and things like that, because I don't think, in hindsight especially, I believe that I didn't play enough for you to get the full picture. I will just say one thing. She was sick recently, and she says that God put her into a deep sleep. Again, use discernment. You don't have to believe this, but use discernment, okay? Just hear me out. She says that she had a dream about an American Airlines jet taking off. She was standing somewhere near an airport. It had to have been because it was just ascending, just clearing a large hedge of trees, when she sees what appears to be a foreign missile, and it takes off towards the plane. And remember, this is most likely got passengers on it. And it's American Airlines. She says before she saw what happened, she woke up. That's the short version of it. I just, that's the highlights of it, basically. That's most of it, though. And she does believe the missile is foreign. So as the things continue to happen, shall we say, in Arizona, maybe other states down the road, if things start to go south for the deep state with that, are they going to try to use a major event to try to distract? And she believes that the reason why she wasn't allowed to see the ending of what happened is that she believes that God is basically saying, again, use discernment. You don't have to believe this. I'm just telling you what she said, in essence, that the outcome can be changed, that the outcome doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to end bad. So we need to pray, myself included. I'm telling myself this as I'm telling you. We need to pray that that God exposes whatever plan the deep state may be trying to plot out, and that it's thwarted. Because they're trying to start something. And I do believe there has to be something to this gas pipeline, because what is it doing? It's taking everybody's eye off the ball. They're taking their eyes off of Arizona. They're taking their eyes off of Israel. They're having to worry about just getting their next tank of gas. And they're having to, I saw one post, someone said, I think they had to go to 12 different stations to find something with gas yesterday. It's just nuts. And I think they are trying to cripple this country, the central bank, Federal Reserve. And it's neither federal nor a reserve for us, I'll add. That's a whole other topic, though. So they're trying to bring us down. And I don't know. I just believe that God is in control. At the end of the day, I do believe that good will prevail, because there is a large remnant in this country. And by the way, I don't care what people say, this is a Christian nation. I don't care what people think for saying that. You can go back to the Declaration of Independence and read what it says. It could not be more clear. So, they have to destroy this country, and I think the deep state, they're on the run. They are actually panicking like there's no tomorrow. I mean, for them to have Biden in, they sure act pretty vulnerable, don't they? And I've heard reports, I've heard things, people, and there's been more than one person that said this, that with all these laws that are being passed, shall we say, I'm going to be vague about it because I don't want to trigger an algorithm, that the Congress, it won't stay Democrat like it is now. That is why, not just at the federal level, state, local, everything, people need to run for office and flush out the deep state. Because the deep state's not just limited to Democrats. There are rhinos. I mean, just today, they just expelled Liz Cheney from, I think, House leadership on the GOP. So good for them. At least some people have some backbone to push back, because she's a fake Republican. She doesn't belong in the Republican Party. She belongs in the Democrat Party with the rest of the communists. Yeah, I just said that. So, anyways, I do believe things are going to go in our favor. We need to pray. I'm telling myself this as I'm telling you. We need to pray. So, all right. I'm coming up on 30 minutes in, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I hope this has been a blessing. I hope this has been helpful. Let me know how I did, how I can do better. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Gab. And you can go to the Citizen Report website at citizenreport.tv or thecitizenreport.weebly.com. and I'll catch you guys later. Bye for now.